Hey everyone, my name is Josh Perry and I'm a Pro BMX athlete.
And I'm Jackie Lauricella and I'm an athletic trainer.
And today we're going to be talking about ACLs and the importance of athletic trainers. Is that good?
I told you I could change the world with a sentence that clicked. A bunch of words and a shot I don't miss. A lot of moves, watch your stance. Everybody died the man until you follow his plans. Don't be stupid, don't be dumb. Don't judge me off of where I'm from. Don't be foolish, use your mind. These simple labels.
Athletic training and personal training are different in the sense that in personal training, it's mostly about exercise. Some tap into preventative or rehabilitative exercise, but athletic trainers are sports medicine professionals. We do rehab, emergency care, treatment, and evaluation of injuries. We also do preventative medicine, so preventative exercises, things like that. It's almost like a jack of all trades. Athletic trainers work really closely with other medical professionals like physical therapists, doctors, orthos, paramedics that are coming onto site when we do have an emergency situation in order to best provide treatment for the athlete. We understand that recovery and treatment and athletics is a very all-encompassing kind of thing. So we are much about integrative medicine as far as care goes, or at least good athletic trainers are. I think athletic training is very important in athletics because it gives a more personal relationship than you would with somebody who's a paramedic or an EMT off the street, and also with concussion evaluation, for example. If I know an athlete really well, I know if they're acting weird or acting funny and how many concussions they've had in the past and things like that. So it's a more personal relationship that you have with your athletic trainer and with that athlete, and it also forms a really great trusting bond. So athletes feel comfortable coming to you and it's not a big hassle, and they know they're going to be listened to and respected in a sense that some people don't receive from doctors.
So in 2013, I was at the Kitchen Skate Park contest. It's Brett Van Sandwich's skate park. And I was doing a transfer out of a 6-foot quarter pipe over a 4-foot railing on the backside, turning 90 degrees into another 6-foot transition on the other side of the skate park. So I was pretty much just jumping out of one section into another, just kind of over the rail and turning. First one just kind of messed up a little bit, jumped off, was all right, just slid down the ramp. The next one, when I popped over the rail, because I was popping over a steep quarter pipe trying to go over the rail and turn, my weight got shifted a little bit and just out of habit, just put my foot down. Transition was like this that I was landing to, so I was kind of jumping over and turning. And when I was leaning over, I put my foot down on the transition, but going down this way. So it just twisted to the right, my body went to the left, and then I pulled back and my leg went behind me and it just popped. And I knew instantly something had gone wrong, and tried to get up, and it was all right for a second, and then I just kind of collapsed. And it didn't hurt at first, but I just couldn't feel anything. There was nothing there, it was weak, no pain, and I just fell again, and then that's when I sat down, and then I could just feel the pain coming on and the swelling. My knee was like a balloon. It was gnarly. I went and saw Trish Fairgrounds at Bare Essentials. She was at the event as the medical staff, and we just put a bunch of ice on it and wrapped it up, and then I just kind of hopped around on crutches for the next rest of the evening and the next day before I left, because the next day was finals, which I didn't make. The next day was when I flew out, so I just kind of hobbled around until I got home. So yeah, I took 2 years because I'm stubborn, and it was good in about a month and a half to where I could walk again and ride. So that was 2013 that I tore it, and November 2015 is when August 2015 was when I finally got the MRI, and the MRI result was about 10 different things long in the injury report.
So Josh's MRI was pretty extensive as far as just listing different things. His ACL was completely torn, and it had separated so much that scar tissue actually formed on either side where it like bounced this way. He had a cyst in his knee. He also had medial meniscus damage, cartilage degeneration, some kind of damage to his MCL. It wasn't torn, but it was partially torn. And just weird pockets of swelling in the joint spaces that you don't want to be there. Oh yeah, and he had osteophyte formation. They're little bone growth developments and they're like little bone spurs, and they stick to weird soft tissue spots in your knee, and they make it kind of really uncomfortable and cause a lot of popping and clicking and grinding that you don't really want. I wouldn't say it was normal for a professional athlete to go 2 years without being imaged or treated, just because they, in other sports, have such easy access to medical care, but because of his attitude and his stubbornness and the conditions of the sport, he wasn't able, or just didn't know that he should go get it done. He just knew that his knee hurt. The fact that he was able to perform doesn't surprise me as far as the injury goes. You can function without an ACL or a PCL, but it's very uncomfortable and your knee feels very unstable. So he probably had to go through a couple of months where his knee felt pretty shitty, and he had to learn how to re-stabilize it and build up other muscles around it. But if he was to go get it looked at when he was supposed to, he probably would have only had ACL tear on his MRI rather than a list of 6 or 7 different things. I think the state of medical care in BMX is something that a lot of people have been fighting to increase for a period of time, but it's just not something that is made a priority. The funding for it just isn't there. The athletes just aren't used to medical care, especially if they don't practice other sports. They don't know that it's out there. They don't know the benefits of having athletic trainers. They don't understand how much better and how much safer you actually feel when you can trust somebody that can take care of you if a bad crash does happen right then and there, without having to go through the hassle of urgent care and not being listened to, or doctors and things like that that just don't get it. So I think it's something that really should be changed. I think BMX athletes deserve to have the same kind of care and treatment as other professional athletes do.
So the 2 years I was riding with all that junk in my knee and not getting it checked out or fixed, mainly because I was scared, because I knew there was something wrong, but I knew the recovery was horrible and I just didn't want to be off my bike. There was times where it felt good. There was some times where it felt weak. There was some times where it felt so painful and swollen that I'd have to take a week to 3 weeks off. I remember there was actually November, so around the holidays, I actually took a whole month off and just visited family and just chilled and just, did my thing, and it was fine after that for a little bit. But I'd go back and forth with a knee brace, knee sleeves, just like with my knee pads too, and just, yeah, it was definitely, I pretty much suffered for 2 years to be able to do what I wanted. But also, I put my foot out a few times on accident or caught it and tweaked it again. It blew up. I had the ice, compression and all that, and glad I got it fixed. But I should have known better from my experience playing school sports. I was on the basketball team and played baseball and all that stuff growing up until about 10th grade is when I stopped to pursue BMX. It's just sad because our sport needs it, but I think the reason it doesn't, like Jackie mentioned, is the funding is not there. But also the fact that BMX doesn't really consider themselves a sport. They still want to be, underground, core, cool, and that's cool, that's what you want to do. But if you're competing, the level we ride at now, dudes are training and they're not shy about it. They're going to the gym, they're eating well, they're working hard. So we definitely need that medical care, as well as the level of riding we're at, the risk factor. It's not just twisting ankle, concussion, is on a whole nother level in our sport, but as well, we're 10 to 20 feet in the air at all times. We're not on the ground, we're getting ready to hit a ramp, then once we hit, we're up there, and the level of risk is so severe, especially with the difficulty in riding now, and as well as 60-second runs, and you get fatigued and all that. So it's definitely something that I'm pretty passionate about now, hence this video and Jackie being here. But I definitely should have gone that route, and you live and you learn. So this ACL injury is what sparked my passion for fitness and understanding the importance of it to protect my body, keep me healthy, and keep me stronger on my bike, which ultimately I can be able to do more. About 6 months prior to the MRI, I started going to the gym. I got a gym membership, started working on machines, lower body stuff mainly. So when I finally went and saw the surgeon before my surgery, he had mentioned, yeah, your hamstrings are super strong. And I talked to him about I've been doing, what I could think of at the gym to protect my legs. And he said, well, you did a really good job on top of riding, your legs are pretty strong. But it only can do that for so long, where your hamstrings will finally give out after a couple of years. But you've been able to strengthen your lower body enough to protect that knee injury and to keep you going and riding how you do. And the fact that we just bend forward, we don't cut and all that, that's another huge factor of why I'm able to do what I do for so long. Once I finally got the MRI, talked to the surgeon, scheduled the surgery date, It was scheduled for November 12th, I think, 2015. And I had about 2 months of prehab. And that was a foreign word to me, and it helped so much though. So we focused a lot of lower body, of course, a lot of core and lower back, and just being on my bike still. I filmed Racing the Knife, a video that, hence the title, you know, I think we started filming that with maybe about a month and a half till surgery day. We were filming up to 2 days before surgery.
In the meantime, with riding, obviously,
yeah.
I mean, you've been doing it for 2 years, just kind of want to be smart with what you're doing.
Yeah. I saved the scariest clips I had for last. I don't know why, and it worked out. I knocked out 5 of my dream tricks that night, maybe or four or five, and it just worked. And I was just super motivated. This injury seriously helped with the prehab. Was focused on the mind too. So it seriously helped me focus, and the motivation just went up. I was working out, doing rehab 6 days a week, being told I had to take 1 day off. Being told that day didn't need to involve email, social media, any type of business work, just calm my mind and relax so my body could heal. And my riding was just, it was getting harder and harder to accept the surgery. I knew I already committed to it, but my riding was just improving so much. And I was like, man, I don't want to take 6 months off. And you know, definitely helped with all the prehab going into it. Another part of prehab was everything I've learned about nutrition over the years and cutting out things like added sugars, dairy, gluten, alcohol if you're 21 and up and you want to drink alcohol, maybe younger in some other countries. But cutting out the pro-inflammatory foods and adding in the anti-inflammatory foods. So like your quality fats like coconut oil, olive oil, avocados or avocado oil, dark unsweetened cacao, raw cacao, grass-fed butter, things like that. And then turmeric, cinnamon, black pepper, ginger, all of those things. And it seriously made such a difference that when I came out of surgery, my knee was half as swollen as a typical person that comes out, and that's also why I didn't have pain. When I went to find a surgeon, I obviously wanted it to be the best that I could find in the area. I wanted to be a sports surgeon. He knows the mentality behind an athlete and their willingness to get back to sport sooner than the average person's willing to get back to going to do everyday things. I found one at Triangle Orthopedic in Apex, North Carolina. He's the one that showed me everything and talked to me about it. But he also said, which this is the best part that I think about, that because there was meniscus tears, it wasn't in his specialty, and that he advised me to go see his colleague at Triangle Orthopedic, Dr. Dolero, who happens to work on the Hurricanes in North Carolina, because he specializes in ACL and meniscus tears in his athletes. So I thought that was great, because when you go to a doctor that seems arrogant and cocky, that they know everything, like it just doesn't make me feel well. It doesn't settle with me. And then the fact that he was like, I'm confident I can do this, but Dr. Dolero is better at what you need, and I want you to have the best care you can have. And that really sat well with me. And I think that was an important thing that most doctors don't do today. And I really was appreciative of that. So I definitely went and sought out humble, sports specific surgeon, and that made a huge difference. He did great. I was back home that day from surgery, woke up, they had me there for a little bit and then went home. And then the next day it was all about keeping my foot moving, my ankle pumps, and just slowly moving my knee a little bit. And it was pretty gnarly. Like I didn't have like the traditional machine that they have on you to move it. Like it was just a little soft cast and just go do your thing. So when you tear an ACL, you have a few different options as far as what graft you want to use to repair the ACL, to replace the torn ACL. You have patella tendon, which they take another part of your knee and injure it to fix the other part, which didn't settle well with me. You could get a cadaver, which is someone else's body part. And my mindset with that was, I've had friends, their bodies reject a cadaver. And I know how poorly I took care of my body at this point, 3-4 years prior. And I was fearful of my body rejecting it because of the changes I've made in my diet, my mindset, my exercise and lifestyle habits. It was just 180 difference, and I didn't want my body to reject it. And then the other one is a hamstring graft. They actually tear another part of your hamstring and they replace the ACL ligament with that hamstring. Now that also sounds conflicting to what I said about the patella tendon, but I did my research. I have multiple friends that have gone through ACL surgeries, 2 of which have had bilateral ACL surgery. Talked to one, he said he had patella, had a lot of problems kneeling down, and I was like, yeah, I don't even like the thought of ruining another part of my body to fix it, because it just actually does a lot more than the hamstring. I'll explain why in a second. And then talked to some other friends that had bilateral. What graft did you guys use? Both of them used hamstring graft for it, riding stronger than ever now, and that made a decision for me. On top of the research I did with Jackie, we looked at a lot of studies, and my friend Jackson in Florida, we looked at a lot of different studies, a lot of different outcomes, and they all were pointing to the same thing: hamstring. Hamstring is the way to go. Your hamstring is way stronger than your patella if you damage it. And so, because technically you are damaging it to replace the ACL with the hamstring. So it's bigger, it's stronger, it heals, and it can take it. And by the time that you wait to the graft to heal, the hamstring's already healed. Plus, you know, everything you're doing is focused on repairing. And also the best thing about it was when the surgeon was talking about grafts, I had told him, hey, I've done my own research. I know you're the professional here, but I want to, run my ideas by you and see what you think. And without missing a beat, yep, we're gonna go with the hamstring. That's it. I will not do a cadaver on you. You're way too young. And he explained, if I was an NBA star, let's say, and I want to get back on the court in like 2-3 months, that would be a possibility. But I'm looking at another surgery within 5 to 10 years. With a hamstring, you're more than likely not gonna have to have it replaced unless you damage it again or don't take care of your body or don't do rehab. That's an important thing too. A lot of people don't take into considerations rehab. I mean, their diet, yeah, like that can go either way, but the rehab, people not doing rehab, they re-tear it, and I've seen that happen multiple times. So hamstring was the way to go. It's what I recommend. I also recommend doing your own research, reaching out to people like myself, other people that have had, gone through the experience, and in my case, it worked out beautiful for me and my friends as well. So the next most important thing that I think I went through with rehab was not having to take pain medication. I committed to not taking pain medication before I went in, and that's why I worked so hard in prehab to keep the swelling down, my diet, and all that.
Normal circumstances for an ACL injury that is repaired surgically is going to be about a 6-month recovery for athletes and about an 8-month recovery for non-athletic population. What you're most concerned about is usually the injury to surgery time frame is a lot shorter. So there's not as much time to do prehabilitation or strengthening before surgery goes in because you feel injured, it's hurt, it's unstable. And a lot of people avoid prehabilitation because of that. Another big thing that is a concern is mentality. A lot of people are afraid that they're not going to come back as fast as they want to. Another big thing that happens is nobody's ever at the same level as they were before their injury, but that's also preventable. Before I go into more specific details about the timeline of Josh's rehabilitation, if you'd like to know more information regarding the specific exercises that we did, follow the link in the description below. So a few days following surgery, you start rehab, and the main focus of that is going to be swelling control, preventing infection, increasing range of motion, and getting your vastus medialis oblique to fire, which is like the inside of your quad, also known as the VMO. Those are usually things that take quite a bit longer, but we were able to progress through those pretty simply. And after that, we work on more light strengthening, and then we also want to maintain upper body and core strength. So you start stationary bike, things like that, very low, no resistance whatsoever, and that's just more about range of motion than anything else. Core strength is a good way to have the athlete work pretty hard without doing any kind of damage to the knee as well. Once that VMO is really firing and they feel more comfortable, then you can start on exercises, as long as they're not closed kinetic chain exercises, which means your foot is on the floor and there's some kind of weight or resistance on top of you. So you do a lot of things that would seem really simple and easy to someone, but they're actually incredibly difficult when your knee is that swollen and beat up from surgery. An athlete cannot progress unless they've met all the criteria from that previous phase or section of rehab. So, you know, if their VMO isn't firing, if they're not able to do that the way they can, then they can't move on to like a balance or anything like that, which is the next section, proprioception. And that's understanding where your body is in space, even if your eyes are closed. So a big focus on that is balance, coordination, footwork, light things like that. And then you can move on to your closed kinetic chain exercises and really focus on strengthening and even more intense balance exercises. So we use things like the Indo board a lot. We were at about 3 days before 4 months when Josh was able to get back on his bike. The rules were 2 wheels on the ground at all times, only doing the pump track. He was able to do the box jumps, but slowly rolled over them. And that was supposed to last for about a week or a week and a half. And it lasted a day. So Josh was ripping around the pump track way faster than he should have been about 2 days after he was on his bike. Then getting way too much air on box jumps. Way before he should have been. And so then progressed, and he was doing most of his tricks again by about 5 months. I think Josh was able to progress in such a way, and it started even before his surgery, just really hungry about everything, like wanted to learn, wanted to know information, like what's the surgery going to be like? Can I find a YouTube video on it? What are they going to do to me? How rough are they going to be? What's my rehabilitation going to be like? Physiologically, what's happening? How long does it take to heal? You know, and I was fresh out of school, so a lot of the things were great because I was able to like Google it and like learn and give him exact detailed information of what he was supposed to have. So I feel like as far as athletes go, he was very involved with his rehabilitation, and a lot of people aren't like that. And I think that helped a lot because he felt very invested into it. I also think he's incredibly stubborn and hard-headed. I felt like I was pulling him back a lot during rehab. The other athletic trainer, Trish Bear, was pulling him back a lot during rehab, but it was also kind of fun to like let him do more than he should have, just to see how far he could push himself. Of course, like within safety limits, we weren't doing anything that he shouldn't have been doing before his ACL was healed, but after that, it was almost kind of like, let's see how far we can push without putting him in danger. He had fun with that, and so did I. A big contributing factor to Josh's fast progression through his rehabilitation was his nutrition and his dietary habits. Most athletes don't put that much focus and energy into what they're putting into their bodies at a very consistent rate, and he did, and he was very disciplined in what he did, and it helped his healing process move along really quickly. Not ingesting sugar and caffeine constantly and processed foods, it clears your mind in a way that is more beneficial to healing and staying focused.
Pay your taxes, do what I say. We'll kill or frame you if you get in the way. Fuck it, I do this 9 to 5 until the cancer come. Then I go Heisenberg and have you rookies looking dumb. Let the Fed search high and low to the Waldo pop, and let the people know we roll into the motto's high. I told my mama I promise to get it all. The whole world is yours, mama, you deserve the ball. I told my people hold it down, I need an army. 'Cause once